Hello everybody, my name is Nixxiom, and today I'm going to tell you guys my most epic PvP story from World of Warcraft, which actually happens to be my very first PvP experience in World of Warcraft. It was the very first time I ever pressed a button and shot it at another player, and it was my most epic experience ever. So I'm gonna get right into it. Let me tell you guys a story. It was a long time ago, back in vanilla World of Warcraft, and I had just hit level, I don't know, like level 17 or 18. All I remember vividly is I had just gotten the spell Blizzard, right? Just gotten Blizzard. I was playing as a mage, an undead mage, of course, and I was in Silverpine Forest. Now, I hit level 17 or 18, whatever level it was, and I decided, hey, there's that new zone over there called Hillsbrad Foothills. I'm gonna go over there and I'm gonna see, I'm gonna go see what it's like over there. I've never been over there before. And I thought I was high enough level, and so I walked into the zone and I clicked the first mob, and if I remember correctly, I was still too low level. But I was just about to walk out of the zone and go back to Silverpine Forest when suddenly a message appeared in the general chat. Now, I don't remember the guy's name, but I do remember that he was a troll shaman, and he said in the general chat, looking for more to help raid South Shore. Now, I had no idea what that was, but then he said again, need more to help, whisper me. Now, had no idea what he was talking about, but hey, he was my fellow Horde player, and he needed help apparently, so I was gonna help him. Now at the time, I didn't even know how to shift-click a name, so I didn't even know what level he was. I just assumed he was just some guy who needed some help with a quest. So I whispered him and said, hey man, like I'll help you out. I'm a little too low level for this zone, but I'll help you. And he was like, oh, no problem, dude. Anybody's welcome. You can come help out. So he invites me into a group. But this wasn't a regular basic bitch 5-person group. This was a raid group. This was like 37 people, and I was the 38th person to join. And it blew my mind. I was like, what the fuck? So I hit M, and I saw all these players were gathered at Terran Mill, and right when I looked, what's-his-face, the troll shaman, started saying, okay, everybody, come down to Terran Mill. Everyone come down to Terran Mill. We're gonna start here soon. So I ran my ass to where I saw all the little dots on the map, and I find this little undead city, and ooh, it was cool, I had never been there before. But here's the thing. When I got there, it wasn't just our raid group that was there, but 2 or 3 other raid groups. All I know is I remember at some point, someone said we had over 200 players, like ready to raid South Shore. Again, no idea what the hell South Shore is. I didn't know. And so, all of a sudden, once I got there, Mr. Troll Shaman and friends started saying, to South Shore, let's go! And the great march began. And so I'm just following the pack, following the herd of Horde, just trampling over Hillsbrad Foothills, stampeding over the grass and killing every single mountain cougar we saw along the way. And there it was. South Shore. The little dinky Alliance city on the southern coast. And as soon as I saw where we were going, I understood. I was like, holy shit. We are about to attack an Alliance city? I had no idea what to expect. I had never even seen an Alliance player before. They were like a mythical beast that just like existed in my imagination. An Alliance player? Shit. So we get to South Shore, and naturally this tidal wave of like boys in red just descended upon the city. The Griffin Master was killed instantly. The Griffins were being killed. Players that were trying to quest or were trying to return quests, they were killed instantly. The quest givers were killed. The innkeeper was killed. Everybody was killed. And the whole time I'm just looking around like, whoa, like what is going on? There's rains of fire going down everywhere, blizzards going down everywhere. So I start using Blizzard and I'm doing like 10 damage, like a hit to some of the mobs. And it was great. It was absolutely great. And for a time, we held South Shore. every time some Alliance player showed up to help out, like a level 60 dwarf hunter or something would land in South Shore to help repel the invaders, they would just instantly get killed. But I remember very vividly, I remember I was standing in the center of South Shore taking screenshots, and I saw it. It was like this line, this conveyor belt of griffins. All these level 60 players were flying into South Shore to land there to reinforce the city. It was just like a perfect line of griffins flying through the sky. It was crazy. And I just watched all these players like just getting off the griffins at the Flight Master, and they just began to kill everybody. Looking back on it today, I know for a fact what probably happened is somebody said in Ironforge, yo, Horde is attacking South Shore, we need help. And all the people in Ironforge flew out to South Shore. So, yeah. So a great battle begins. A true battle. We have Horde Steel versus Alliance Steel, clashing and banging, spells and swords, and people are dying left and right, and I'm dying, and I'm running back to the freaking battlefield as fast as possible, and I'm shooting level 60 characters with my spells and doing like 20 damage to them, and feeling like a badass. I'm casting Blizzard as much as possible. I'm getting killed by NPCs. It was just chaos. And the entire time, over our heads, as this battlefield is going on in the center of the fucking city, you can just see more and more griffins flying in. And at the same time, more and more Horde are pouring into the city, reinforcements from Undercity, Orgrimmar, Thunderbluff, everywhere. They were coming to help out. Max level players, low level players, and it blew my fucking mind. Blew my mind. I remember at the time my mother said to me, she was like, Nixxiom, it's time for dinner. And I was like, I'm not hungry, I don't feel good. And I told her that I was feeling sick and I couldn't eat anything. It was a lie, just because I was in the middle of this giant battle and I couldn't abandon my brothers in arms. What are you, nuts? So, the battle rages on. And eventually, you know, the graveyard run is pretty far. So the Horde gets pushed out of South Shore. And the battle continues for like another hour. And the Horde is being slowly pushed back to Terran Mill, and eventually, there we were, at Terran Mill. And it was something straight out of a Lord of the Rings movie. Pretty much Troll Shaman guy and the other raid leaders were like, oh, everybody line up, everybody line up. And all these level 60s and these 40 pluses, they all got on their mounts and they made this big line. And the Alliance players, they kind of got it. They were like, oh, I see what they're doing. And then they lined up. So we're like right outside the town, and they're, you know, right outside the town too. And I'm back behind all the horses and the mounts and stuff, and I'm like, holy shit. It was seriously something straight out of a Lord of the Rings movie. It was incredible. And no one planned it. We just lined up, and then all of a sudden, someone yelled for the Horde in all caps, in /yell. They screamed it. And then the whole crowd, me too, shouted for the Horde, and we just charged. And the Alliance charged. And it was just the greatest, craziest battle that has ever been fought in World of Warcraft history. And it just kept going back and forth. We would push them, they would push us back, and it was very clear at the time, because I was playing on Smolderthorn US, and at the time, Alliance kind of was outnumbering the Horde. I don't know now, I don't play on that server anymore. But Alliance definitely was outnumbering the Horde, and so we were really hoping for those NPCs to back us up, but the battle continued. The server lagged like crazy. But eventually, unfortunately, I have to say that the Alliance did win. Unfortunately, they won. They came in like a tidal wave. The Horde lost morale or something, and they were camping the graveyard, the spirit healer, and the Alliance took Terran Mill. And the raid leaders were organizing a counterattack, trying to get everybody to kind of regroup outside of the town, and then we would charge back in again. But unfortunately, I didn't get to see that glorious battle, whatever happened, because at that time, it was really late, and I had school in the morning, and so my parents forced me to go to bed. But you better believe I did not want to sleep. And so here's what I did. I went to bed in quotes, and I just laid in bed for like 2 hours, and I waited for my mother and father to go to sleep. And when they finally had gone to sleep, I hopped up, I checked, I went to their bedroom, I listened to make sure they were sleeping. I was listening to hear if my dad was snoring or whatever. And then I went back in my room, really quiet, and I turned on the computer, and I hopped back on, and the battle was over. But let me tell you something, when I logged into Terran Mill, it was just an ocean of skeletons. An ocean. You couldn't even see the grass anymore. It was just skeletons everywhere, all across Terran Mill, all across the roads, all across the fields. It was disgustingly beautiful. It was incredible. It was absolutely incredible. And to this day, whenever I think about PvP and what was my most epic PvP experience in World of Warcraft, that's it. That first ever battle I had of Terran Mill versus South Shore. And if I remember correctly, I just thought about this. I think after I rezzed, I looked around the town and I asked in general chat, you know, what happened? What happened? Like I had to leave a little early. What happened? And people were like, oh yeah, we were able to retake the town, but then the Alliance took the town back. And then eventually people just kind of, you know, dispersed. It got late here on the East Coast, and, you know, people went to bed, and the battle kind of ended pretty much in a stalemate. But when I was involved, or when I was fighting, the Alliance definitely had the upper hand, but it ended in a nice little stalemate. So, to this day, the war for South Shore and Terran Mill, can't forget it, man. Can't forget it. Such an epic memory. It was one of my first days playing World of Warcraft too. It was like my 4th day, you know, and it was incredible. So guys, that was my most epic PvP experience. What about you guys? What was your most epic PvP experience? Was it World PvP? Was it maybe you and your friends were doing arenas and you got like a super high rank, you're fucking whatever, and you freaked out and you just poured Mountain Dew all over yourselves and Doritos or something, and then you like punched your mom in the face and told her that, yeah, I just got Merciless Gladiator? Like, I don't know. What was your most epic PvP experience? Eventually, I'll come back and I'll tell you guys my most epic PvE experience, and then I'll tell you a little bit about just more stuff in general, more really cool WoW stories, because I got a lot of them. So, guys, thank you for watching / listening, and got a new camera, so you can kind of see me in HD. You know, that's kind of cool, right? That's kind of cool. Alright guys, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Peace.